Hello and welcome to Acoustic Review. My name is Ben Morgan Brown and today I'm looking at the Lucas Nano 608i from HK Audio. The 608i is a compact PA featuring an integrated wireless iPad mixer with a free control app for iPad, 8 channels, 4 of which feature combination XLR and jack inputs, Bluetooth connection for audio streaming and also connecting the app, 2 satellite speakers with 4.5-inch woofers and 1-inch tweeters, and a 10-inch subwoofer. Weighing 16.3 kilograms, the Nano is available as a system on its own with an RRP of $14.99, but also as a stereo set which includes speaker stands, cables and a carry bag for the stands at $16.99. Although looking at street prices, both units are available for under £1,000. It's common to see iPad-based mixers with larger PA systems, but not so common to see them in a smaller, more portable format. In fact, HK Audio claim that this is the first portable PA with this feature. As a gigging musician used to performing both through full PAs and smaller acoustic amplifiers, I'm interested to see where the HK sits in comparison. So let's have a listen to it now and then come back afterwards for my thoughts.
Hiding in the bathroom and dreaming just to sleep. Troubling my mind with thoughts, deciding which to keep. I've been away for so
In the next section of the video, you're going to hear a guitar recorded onto a looper pedal, played through the HK Nano. And whilst that's going on, I'm going to show you the app and adjust the EQ and reverb in real time. My first impression of the HK Nano is that it is relatively compact, with a nifty storage space for the satellite speakers and a very workmanlike professional look. It was slightly awkward to lift with one hand due to the handles being on the back of the unit, although the weight is very manageable and I don't see that it would be an issue carrying it into a gig. Setup was very simple and I quickly had the iPad app installed and was able to stream music through the Nano within a matter of minutes. The build quality seems pretty robust, and I like the fact that the controls are somewhat recessed behind the handles, so when you're moving the unit in and out of cars and around at gigs, that should mean that they're not going to get knocked too much. A few of the smaller controls were a bit fiddly to use, but to be fair, they're mainly things like the buttons that control whether you're using the remote app, So I guess you would set those and forget them. So that's just a minor niggle, but something to be aware of if you were having to change settings on the fly. I was impressed by the sound, particularly when you look at how small the satellite speakers are. But I think it's fair to say a lot of the heavy lifting and the power does come from the sub. I was a little surprised at the volume, which did seem lower than I was expecting. But having said that, it's hard to judge how the sound travels when recording in the studio. And also, due to the satellite speaker setup, you could put those speakers much further apart than I had them. And I think that would help with making the sound carry in a larger room. The Nano is clearly not designed to be used in situations where you would need a very loud PA. So I think for restaurants and small clubs and wedding gigs, situations like that, I don't think there'd be any issues with volume at all. The control app was pretty simple to use. If you're relatively tech savvy, I think you'd be up and running in a few minutes. But if you're someone who sometimes needs a bit more time with technology, then I think it would be a good idea to sit down with that and really get a good feel for how it works before you take it out into a gigging situation. The standard mode gives you a 4-band EQ, but I feel that for acoustic guitar, the expert mode with its parametric EQ was better. Particularly the fact that you have 2 mid-range bands with fully adjustable Q settings, which I found was really good for dialing out feedback. Setting up reverb for each channel within the app is very simple, and I found that I could very quickly get a sound for both vocals and guitar that was pleasing and usable. The sound is flattering without being over-coloured. I did take a little bit of mid-range out of the master EQ section, but even set flat, the sound was pure and punchy and had lots of clarity. Being able to control the sub level separately to the satellite speakers means that you can get a good thump going on in the low end without overdriving those smaller speakers. And it also means that in a live situation you could easily control the total amount of low end without having to reach for the EQ section. The mixer on the app is quite powerful, with the extensive EQ section meaning you can dial in a variety of instruments in many different situations. And obviously trying to fit all of those controls onto a unit of this size would be virtually impossible. So the extra depth that the iPad app gives you brings a whole new level of control to a unit of this size. When looking at value for money, I think to be honest we need to look at the disparity between the RRP and the street price. Now with an RRP of $16.99 including stands, cable and a carrier bag, the HK Nano is not that competitive compared to some other options out there. But when you look at the street prices of closer to £900 to £1,000, it actually becomes much more attractive, seeing as that's the price point where a lot of smaller 2-channel high-end acoustic amplifiers sit. And compared to those items, the HK Nano has a lot more functionality. Ultimately, I think the deciding factor as to whether you'd go for the HK Nano over a smaller amplifier or a larger PA system is down to both the performer and your performance situation. For a solo performer with one instrument, maybe the added functionality of the HK Nano is a little bit overkill, but if you take multiple instruments to gigs or you play in a small band, then having those extra channels and the extra EQ options available to you are going to be invaluable. If you're performing in situations that don't need a very loud PA, but you do need more options than a small 2-channel acoustic amplifier can give you, then the HK Nano is definitely something that you should consider for your amplification needs. I hope you've enjoyed this video from Acoustic Review. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on other social media, and I look forward to seeing you next time.